with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Line NBA DFS Playbook Show. We got 8 games here on a Wednesday to break down, and the news here, James, is coming. It's coming quick. Some news we had last night. Some news we're still waiting on. We got a midday update on a notable LeBron James, now questionable, a game-time decision for this evening on the back-to-back. The Boston Celtics are dealing with a couple of guys in Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown who are questionable today. We got Giannis surprisingly ruled out earlier this afternoon. We know Darius Garland is ruled out. We got a whole bunch of players. DeRozan ruled out. Embiid, I think, was questionable or something to play tonight. So we had 7 teams on a back-to-back. The injury news is flowing. It's going to be a hectic slate here once again.
Throwing Kyrie Irving into that equation too. He's questionable on the back-to-back. What was it? The big 3 in Phoenix making their debut together tonight. There's a lot going on in the association tonight. Apparently, Toronto, John, another one. Dennis Schroeder, hit the injury report today. That was like kind of an under the radar.
Already, Trent and OG were doubtful. Mm-hmm. So can get a Malachi Flynn in the starting lineup tonight?
Oh no. It's not fun. Not the best, but like we'll work with it. Toby is on the injury. Their injury report is pretty extensive today, and that's kind of been what we've gotten used to on these big slates and kind of, par for the course for NBA. I think the good thing about the injury report today is that Dallas news, 7:00 game. That's the only 7:00 game we have to worry about. It's a 240 total, so like obviously we'd like to know, but the Toronto news 7:30, the Knicks news RJ Barrett 7:30, the Boston and Philly news 7:30, and then we have the Lakers news 10:00. But we also have, thankfully, another 10:00 game with a lot of appeal to it in Cleveland, Portland, that we could just have pivots on deck in case LeBron is ruled out. So there's a lot to dissect, but it feels better than we had like the other day with like the clunkiness of the Sacramento news. It feels better than yesterday with all the news kind of spread out. Like this news very concentrated early, the LeBron news late, but there's like clear direction on like, okay, LeBron doesn't play, we can pivot there, or you can stay on Cleveland. If LeBron plays, Cleveland exists, they're popular. So I feel pretty good with the way that the news has broken. So speaking of breaking, let's break it all down, John.
Happy to get into it. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to get them in the chat. James and I happy to help you guys out here today. Build your lineups, get you involved, answer your questions, whether it be DFS, DraftKings, FanDuel, prop related as well. I just put out my Sleeper HQ picks of the day. Here you can find that on Fantasy Line. They got a discounted promo today on the De'Aaron Fox points down to 19.5. So if you want to go take advantage of that and throw together the 2 picks I threw in my article, you got about close to a 6x return potentially here. But Sleeper HQ, if you put enough plays together, Grande, they let you get up to a 100x return on your money. So pretty wild. You have a chance to 100x yourself this evening if you go, I think, like 10 for 10 or something like that on the slate for props. So go check out Sleeper HQ. The article's live again. You go to fantasy.com/sleeper. Use your mobile device for that and use promo code VAULT3 at your sign up there to get a 100% deposit match offer for everybody there. Like you mentioned, let's break down tonight's DraftKings main slate. When looking at some game totals here, James, what's some of the things that we should be paying attention to tonight?
So I think first and foremost, Dallas and Washington opened 243. It's now up to 244.5. So that's been bet up. 244.5 is probably the largest number we've had all year. And that's been bet up post Kyrie news. So, take that for what it's worth. Dallas 4.5 point favorites on the road. 230.5 in Knicks Hawks. It's a pick 'em. Trae Young going to be in the lineup. That makes things a lot less interesting on the Atlanta side. With Murray priced up, with Trae still priced up, Bogdan's priced up. A lot harder to get to Atlanta. I think the appeal in that game would obviously come from the Knicks side if RJ Barrett is ruled out. I think one of the more interesting movements of the day, John, the Lakers opened tonight's game as 1-point favorites. It is a big, juicy 233.5. That's what it opened at. Since open, over on BetMGM, the line has flipped, and the Kings are now 1.5-point road favorites in LA, and that is coinciding with the LeBron James questionable news. So Vegas getting ahead of it, whether LeBron plays or not. They are listing the Kings as road favorites, and that game has moved 2 points north, so it's up at 235.5. They played earlier this year. 259 was the end result in that game. Kings won by 5. So a lot of fantasy goodness in there. I don't know if that to you signifies Vegas just getting out in front of LeBron potentially sitting, or they think LeBron is sitting.
I mean, we saw the line movement yesterday with Curry. Once he got ruled out, it moved 6 points.
Yep.
Pretty obviously, that was a definitive rule out here. But with it being a back-to-back, I could see, Vegas certainly taking a look at that game now and thinking, all right, back-to-back, LeBron again on the injury report here. Somebody might be resting.
Right.
Yeah, but LeBron James said he didn't want to rest. So, we'll also, I guess have to pay attention to that as well when it comes to some of the things that happen here. So we'll see. I do think it makes for some interesting roster construction builds because if LeBron James gets out, we're looking at Rui Hachimura, and guys, Cam Reddish maybe or somebody like that here for the minutes and production. Of course, Anthony Davis, gets a lot of love. D'Angelo Russell will get a lot of love here in this game. So Austin Reeves maybe even starting to come around as well for the Lakers over the last few games. So certainly a story to continue to follow. But that game is a late game. So, that's news that may not come until we're well within. So we talk a lot of times about building rosters to have some pivot movement or some availability to have some flexibility in your roster construction. We got 2 games at 10 o'clock here tonight. So you could, late stack a little bit so you can mix some things around there to get the right exposure to be able to make those necessary pivots to your lineup here, because there will be lineups that do just that. And if you're behind the 8 ball, could put you at a bit of a disadvantage in your lineup builds here this evening. Let's jump into the point guard position. You mentioned already Kyrie Irving may not play. If Kyrie Irving sits out, you have a lone Luka against Washington at 12-1. Is there a better play on the slate than that?
Maybe Anthony Davis if LeBron sits. Probably not. If
you were getting 70 plus for 3 straight games or whatever without Kyrie Irving in that lineup.
2 of 3. Kyrie played that first game and then didn't play the next 2. It's not like the usage rate with Kyrie off changes all that much. Luka just still is the more dominant ball handler in that game, and still obviously takes a lot of shots and whatnot. It's just I would say it's a pretty great spot whether Kyrie plays or not. Obviously, it's easier to get to Luka when there's no Kyrie, but definitely contrarian if Kyrie plays, despite it being a 244.5 game total. But value opened up today and potentially can open up a lot more throughout this slate, and you can find yourself getting to Luka whether Kyrie plays or doesn't. But obviously, 244 total without Kyrie, it's hard not to want to get to Luka. And we talked about this. I think you and I I've said this to you 5 straight slates without Jamal Murray when it comes to Jokic. It's we sit here and we say man, there was bad value last night, but just find a way to get to Jokic, and he doesn't disappoint. And then again, he goes for 70, and you're man, should have probably just played Jokic again. And that's kind of what it feels like with Luka without Kyrie. It's find a way to get to Luka. Now, I'm not telling you to play Robert Covington again. I'm just telling you that there are other ways where you don't have to jam a second star next to Luka, because he might go for 90, and you don't need a second star if the rest of your lineup is consistently getting you 6-7x in the mid-tier. So
Guy Fives, I'll bring up a good point. Obviously, THJ becomes a jam if no Hardaway, or if no Kyrie tonight. We did see him be pretty productive this year when Irving was sitting, so could definitely get there He's also thinking LBJ plays. Didn't play a lot in the fourth quarter last night, so certainly could be. Again, just the way that line movement went makes you should think that maybe there will be some resting there. Moving our way down, Max got a big price bump. If Embiid sits against Boston, which I think would be surprising.
Yeah.
Maxey at 95. You have Trae Young at 93. Donnie Mitch with no Garland at 91. Dame at 9K without Giannis today.
I think Tyrese Maxey without Embiid is the most difficult play of the slate. It's like to get right because you have two of the best perimeter defenders in basketball on the other side of the floor in Derek White and Drew Holiday. But Tyrese Maxey this season with Joel Embiid on the sidelines has a 37.4% usage rate and averages 1.67 fantasy points per minute. That is like elite. It's an 11% usage bump. That's just Embiid. I'm not even factoring in Oubre off the floor either. I am just taking Embiid off the floor because obviously Oubre is a high usage player too. It's really hard to not want to get to Tyrese Maxey in that case, right? But it's just one of those things where you see sometimes, we talked about it on the podcast last night, and I've looked deep into the Kings. When De'Aaron Fox is on the floor, Keegan Murray gets a massive bump, and Sabonis gets a massive bump. And just teams are sometimes better with their stars on the floor because they take so much attention away. What else does Philly really have to hone in on if Joel Embiid's not there? They're not sending doubles at Paul Reed. Yeah. They're not sending doubles at Tobias.
Hey, D'Anthony Melton dropped 28 last night,
Yeah, I'm not trying to disrespect, no slander on D'Anthony Melton's name, but do
you think we get another 32 shots out of Tyrese Maxey here if there's no JoJo?
There's a chance. And that right there is the problem with not playing Maxey because dude, we've seen good defense sometimes doesn't matter in the NBA. It doesn't.
He faced Boston already. He went 11 for 27 for 50 fantasy points. So.
Right. So, I mean, then the argument is, well, hey, by the way, Dame Lillard, $500 cheaper, no Giannis. But Dame has also had a floor, a really low floor this year. Yeah. So
the no Giannis thing is the game changer here, though, right? He will take all the shots.
Yeah, I mean, there is Middleton, obviously, but it's a 20-minute stint. So there's likely, 16 to 18 minutes for Lillard here with no Middleton, right? Yeah. Where they're just not sharing the floor, which is obviously a massive sample.
Yeah, I would expect Lillard here to take 20 plus shots tonight. So
what if
it could be up against Schroeder or Malachi Flynn or Grady Dick? I don't know who they're going to throw out there at guard tonight. So feels like Lillard's in a pretty good spot here. And then again, Donnie Mitch gets Portland. We were all in. He was our plug because Garland got ruled out right away before everybody else did. We're like, ooh, Donovan Mitchell in Portland at $9,100, 60 bomb on its way. And that might not even be the best play anymore, right? Still feels really good.
It does feel really good. The problem is it's a 10.5 point spread for Cleveland on the road. Yeah. Cleveland is 10.5 point road favorites.
Yeah, Portland's not good.
No, they're bad for sure. I'm just saying, if Boston played their guys and Embiid doesn't play, is Philly good enough to keep that game competitive?
I mean, I would say no, but we've seen teams hang around when they shouldn't, Golden State last night hung around for a while in that game. So they were missing Clay and Carter and Draymond.
What if, also the scenario, how Lillard's been limited, right? I know that there's no official cap on his, or no there's no report. Last time though, Bucks head coach Adrian Griffin said he's going to be limited, and he played 32 minutes. Sure. If that was if that happens again tonight, Lillard plays 32 minutes, Embiid's ruled out, rank Maxey, Mitchell, Lillard. Barring the limit for Lillard.
I still go Dame because you don't know that limit's going to hang out. He missed one game. I'm not going to.
Okay. I'm saying if the limit is there, if we know that Adrian Griffin comes out and says there's a limit,
But the limit was still 32 minutes. It's not like he was limited to 25.
Yeah, but we're talking about Tyrese Maxey, who's playing 40, and Mitchell playing 40. You would give up 8 minutes for both those guys
No,
to
I
play
just don't
game?
think that I don't think that's a real limit. Like, I don't know. I get sure if we
He
get
said it. I mean, he said it was limited. He played only 32 minutes.
Yeah, that was last game. I mean, sure. I guess did he say it previously or after the last game?
He said it prior to the last game that he was on a limit.
Well,
so
I guess if we get word again that he's limited, then sure. I mean, obviously that's not even a question. You would rank him last.
Okay. Well, that was what I was asking.
You have Darren Fox at $8,300.
Yeah.
Again, they're now 1-point favorites.
Yeah, and it's the cheapest he's been all year for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. No, guards loaded. We talked about this last night. We plugged in like 4 of them right away. We're like, all right, what do we plug in for our forwards here tonight, right? Like
Brunson, if Barrett's out too,
like Brunson against Atlanta. If Barrett's out, it's great at 8K. Again, there's guys down here. If Jaylen Brown's out again, I go back to Derek White or Drew Holiday. I think both of those guys are pretty interesting here. If JB ends up sitting out, especially if Porzingis sits out too, I mean, like that just really shortens that rotation for Boston tonight. The shots will definitely be there for those 2 plays. Anybody else for value? Kobe White, 55 against Orlando?
Yeah, Kobe White. Yeah, Kobe White's going to be pretty popular tonight, at least current ownership. I'll give Melton the shout again if there's no Joel Embiid. I know he popped with Joel Embiid, but I would probably
free throws is wild. I don't know. Like, how is he getting to the line 10 times?
That is everything kind of went right, huh? 35 minutes, which we kind of expected. I think that there was a ceiling on the minutes.
Yeah,
no Oubre and Robert Covington in the starting lineup, like obviously helped him not come off the floor. But he hit 4 threes and made 10 free throws. Like everything went right for Melton. I would probably go back to the well if there was no Embiid. I would probably go to D'Angelo Russell if you had late game exposure if there's no LeBron as well. He's been really. I keep not ignoring him, but like I keep looking past D'Lo 7,500, but another 38 fantasy points last night and like no minutes at all. I don't know. Conley's really good again last night.
I don't think we need to go there for those guys. To me,
probably not.
I don't think until we get official word on Toronto. Like I don't see a need to really play much lower than Kobe White personally, unless more guys get ruled out. Like I don't know, does Jaden Hardy crack a lineup tonight? Like if Jaden Hardy starts for Irving, I would have some interest.
Could I think we know Hardaway's going to come off the bench, right? That we know. Like no matter what, Irving's going to. If Irving's out, it's probably Josh Green or
we assume it's Josh Green because that's what it was before. Not terrible at 47. If he was to crack the lineup there, but I don't see a need to play anybody else down here personally.
Agreed.
Again, Malachi Flynn would be where I would go, assuming he starts. I would have no problem running that out there. Shooting guard position. Again, we've talked already. Donnie Mitch. Would you run Anthony Edwards out there at 89 against Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, this should be a competitive game. He kind of had the floor game last night, but he's had ceiling games pretty much the rest of the way. So, I mean, back to back. I don't know if we need to get there, especially like how closely priced he is with Mitchell or if Kyrie played. But at the other end of the spectrum, he's going to be low owned. So in tournaments, like he definitely has a ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, he still had 3 steals in that game, right? He just kind of had like a bad shooting night ish. It was more volume than anything, right? Kyle Anthony Towns had the monster night.
He did.
So he kind of took a little bit of a backseat, which is going to happen every now and then. It's just the way it is. I didn't even realize that Shaedon Sharpe. I guess he's probable. I didn't even know he popped up on the injury report there, but $7,800 Shaedon Sharpe.
Knee soreness? Really? 40 minutes is
48 minutes a night. I mean, what are we doing here? 41 minutes last night.
Interesting.
How many people get to Zach LaVine? No DeRozan tonight.
So, like, do you think LaVine is still as interesting as he was last night?
I think there's always interest when a key player gets out of the rotation because we know LaVine is a high volume shooter. Now, is he going to be efficient? That's to be seen, but the man did have a 50 actual scoring game here this season. So I could see it. I could still see him fitting into a lot of builds, just the open DeRozan not being there-ness,
Yeah, I've been like I've been waffling on Levine today. Not that I don't think he's going to take 40 shots or whatever, and like obviously he has a
If
high
we
usage
get
rate.
more news, like some volume, I mean, there's some value that did open up, but I mean, if we get some more 4K plays that are in play tonight, like you're going to be able to get Levine, Fox, Mitchell, like you're going to be able to jam 3 or 4 of those guys in there. Levine having the shooting guard, small forward eligibility helps as well.
Yep.
Because you can throw them in 6 different spots in your lineup essentially. So.
Yep.
Definitely in play. We haven't discussed the Phoenix guys. Booker, Beal, like, are you in on them tonight?
Wait and see for me. And it's on the caveat and Minnesota. You know, like
right, yeah, Minnesota, yep.
So it's a wait and see approach how that shakes out.
Sure. We discussed Cleveland last night as well. LeVert versus Strus.
Yeah, Strus. Toaster strudel.
Yeah, Moses Moody's modest.
Moses Madi.
Modest Madi.
Oh god, that was funniest 13 seconds of my life.
So you got Max Strus here, cheaper. Not showing like the ceiling we've gotten out of LeVert lately, but cheaper.
Yeah.
So LeVert will start. Strus will start. You know, what do you prefer here? Is if you can fit LeVert, you play LeVert. Otherwise, you play Strus?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both great plays. It's like if Portland can keep this game competitive, as we get a question about Skylar Mays, he's definitely in play. If you think that they can keep that game competitive, he's going to play big minutes and he's going to start and he's going to be a double threat. If you think Portland keep this game close, like LeVert's a great play. I mean,
I think they can. Honestly, I'm a little. I get the point spread obviously because LeVert is. I mean, we've talked LeVert for years. Like he is just as good.
So good.
As any like he would start everywhere else. He's just coming off the bench for them, right? So I get the point spread here, but I mean, you know, Jeremy Grant or DeAndre Ayton and you know Shaedon Sharpe, like those guys have proven capable of scoring the basketball. So you know,
I think if we got a downgrade from Sharpe, I would definitely be concerned with this game staying close. Like if Sharpe couldn't play, I mean, 40 minutes going to who? You know, like Bouye. We're going to see Jamari Bouye like playing 40 minutes. So like in that case, I would worry.
Jamari Walker had a big game last night.
He did. Look, Portland at home could definitely keep this game competitive. It's not like Cleveland has played exceptionally well. They just got lit up and you know, Sacramento at home is really good. We saw that last year, but like they got torched with Garland. They're without Garland. They're 10.5 point favorites tonight with a limited Jarrett Allen. To your question, I'm okay playing either, and I'm okay actually playing both guys in a lineup. Like you can play them both. They have great eligibility. Like if you wanted to be contrarian and not play Mitchell, you just play like the mid tier and you hope you get the ceiling game from LeVert. While if you get 35 fantasy points from Strus, which you've done in back-to-back games, like you're super happy with that. So I think there's a really solid floor ceiling combination of both these guys. So I think getting the savings going to Strus is something that I'm definitely exploring. But if you can get to LeVert at 6,400, all systems go there.
I know the minutes suck here, but the price is coming down on him. There is no so, I mean, the man has been 30, 25, 27, 23, 25.
It's just, dude, he's just give us 25 minutes and I'm down.
Yeah. I'm just saying, as the price comes down, it just gets easy. Like now he needs 28 fantasy points for 5x. You know, I don't know. I'm just mentioning it. Like playing Strus, LeVert, and Mitchell in the lineup I would not play all three in a game that has a 10.5 spread.
I would if you think it could stay competitive, but like in an MME. If you're MMEing, I would. Not as like
I worry in the 10.5. Now listen, it's a road team that's a 10.5 point favorite. That's a lot of points for a road team.
It is.
But I don't want that much exposure to that kind of game environment, personally, because they go by the way of the Spurs last night. Obviously, the opposite side, Spurs got blown out in that game, but all their starters played 25 minutes, and that was kind of it for the night there. All right, move our way down here. Anybody other shooting guards? We talked Tim Hardaway Jr. already would be in play. Any other guys here?
Melton is fine. I would say obviously TBD on Cam Reddish. He was really, really good in a couple starts or a couple of games where he got extended run lately. Also very just like ceiling shooting performances in those games. So like I'm not totally sold. I think there's better Laker plays out there, but it's hard not to look at his way because he's going to play 35 minutes if there's no LeBron. So 4,800 for Reddish would make sense. That's like
if Caruso starts, we probably play Caruso, right?
Yeah, it's that. I guess that's a pretty big question mark for the slate in general. Like what the Bulls are going to do with the DeRozan spot and if Caruso plays, because the industry seems to think it's Patrick Williams plug and play, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen Caruso. He's played 9 games this year. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 times played 26 plus minutes, and DeRozan's in all of those. So
I was going to say the 2 games he's played 30 or more minutes this year, he gave you 40 and 38 fantasy. So
it's one of those things. He plays when there's a very good player. Like they just put him on Franz, right? Like he'll come on the floor and he'll probably guard Franz Wagner. So I think the Caruso news is pretty big. I would say Beauchamp 3,500 probably gets extended with no Giannis.
He's getting some good rostership here tonight as well. People do think that he gets some additional run tonight.
The only you're running into just like he has like you want to talk about someone with a floor.
Yeah,
I mean
he's just like playing JT Thor, Covington, Maladon. All those guys that we've played that have bombed the last few nights here. He's another 3K guy that he's been a fantasy point per minute guy when he's kind of on the floor, but we also have 9 fantasy points, 6 fantasy points. So, but I'm sure people's models and sims are getting to some Beauchamp here this evening.
No hand builders getting to Beauchamp
Grady Dick, as we talked about, did play 24 minutes. In that game. If there is no Schroeder, we already know there's no Trent, potentially no Trent, and OG have to assume he gets a bump in minutes here.
How would you like assess the Toronto value in general? Like if they're all ruled out, right? Let's say Trent, OG, Schroeder, all out.
I probably just want to play. I mean, now that there's no Giannis, don't you just want to play Siakam more at his price tag?
Yes. That was mentioned by our boy Bowers in the Discord today. I think that was a great shout because you obviously had to worry about Giannis. I mean, Siakam is a very aggressive defender.
I think Barnes more contrarian today, do you think, because more people are flocking to Siakam?
Yes, I do. I think that's kind of been the case in general, right? Like people have been more so flocking to the guy, like just because
the cheaper play.
Yeah, Barnes has just gotten so crazily priced that people are like, let me just play Siakam, even though Scotty Barnes. What if we get back to Scotty Barnes making shots too? Then we're talking about a guy who has 60
upside,
60 in the bag.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. Not having Giannis there. I talked about, last year Brook Lopez had some really big games without Giannis on the floor. Now, obviously, the difference this year is Dame Lillard exists, right. But last year he was also going with like full Drew Holiday and Middleton at times as well. So competing for shots. Before we jump over to small forward, appreciate all you guys tuning in here to the show today. If you have questions, throw them in the chat. More than happy to help them out. If you could give us a like on today's stream, subscribe to the channel, definitely helps us as well battle our way through these YouTube algorithms for sure. Get some more eyes on what we're doing over here. Always helpful, always here to help you guys out with your lineups. Small forward, if Jaylen Brown is out tonight, I mean, JT at 10-1 feels pretty good. Potentially no Zinger. If you have no Porzingis and no Jaylen Brown tonight, don't you kind of like Jason Tatum at 10-1?
I kind of like Jason Tatum at 10-1 for sure. Yeah.
Also, Sean, no.
No.
You can play him. I hope he hits for you, but I am not touching Gary. I've done that before this year. No thank you.
Was that a bait? Was that a dig at you for playing Gary Harris on that one slate?
I don't know.
Sean's out here taking shots. Look at this.
He might be. I'm good on Gary.
Tatum, by the way, 90-minute sample with Brown Porzingis off the floor. He has a 10% usage bump.
Yeah. Is it like 39% usage rate?
39 can be rounded up to 40 if you would like. So to make the point better, I'll round it up to 40. 1.56 fantasy points per minute So yeah, I think those qualify as like pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
And like, dude, like very live without Porzingis, like double bet for Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Like first person I was bet to for a double tonight.
Agreed. Anime dude, yeah, dude, definitely can go ahead and use the same information for FanDuel. Obviously, some of the pricing's a little bit different, but our guy, the Prince, is usually hanging around in our chat. He's a FanDuel player. I know Bowers, longtime sub of ours, also FanDuel guy. What did we just get?
The Earth is flat.
Kyrie Irving is ruled out for tonight, so that is a full go Luka for me at 12-1. Gotta get Luka in your lineup. This is like not playing Jokic, right? But Joker's playing with all of his guys. This is just solo Luka.
It's just Luka on an island.
Solo Luka on an island here tonight. But yeah, dude, Anime definitely can convert this to FanDuel as well.
Yes.
Same pricing, obviously, at some spots is similar. If you have any FanDuel questions, though, go ahead, throw them in chat. Yeah. We're happy to help you out. Luka over on FanDuel tonight is $12,000 tonight. Still fine. You need 60 for 5x. He's given us 70. He's almost given us 80 on one of these slates here. So now a lot of people are now pivoting to Luka Doncic with that news.
Correct.
A lot of lineups are going to have Luka Doncic, which means a lot of the rostership on those 9K guards is now gone. So if you wanted to be different tonight and jam Donnie Mitch and Fox and whatever in your lineup tonight, you could. Now, there's definitely going to be some value. You probably could still play Luka and a Fox in your lineups tonight. Fox on FanDuel, just for a conversation, is 93, a little bit more expensive than the 83 on DraftKings. But, usually there's some more value on FanDuel we find as well at times there. So definitely going to be interesting to see how these lineups shake out for sure. On FanDuel, Anthony Davis is only 11.5, so you're not even getting a big discount from Luka over there. Yeah, I think all lineups start with Luka now for me. If you're single lineuping tonight, I don't think it makes much sense to fade a guy that could go for 80 or, as Beezy said, maybe go for 100. Not even hyperbole there. Like we've seen some guys go for 80 plus. We've seen 100 fantasy points scored in games before.
Embiid,
yeah.
Embiid's done it twice. Has he done it twice?
He was close. I think he was close. Yeah, I could see Luka doing it 100%. So now we have to see who's in that starting lineup because there's some value if they throw Green in the starting lineup tonight or they throw Hardy in the starting lineup tonight. Going to be pretty interesting to see how that all kind of works itself out. What do we have for Tatum usage, though? 39%, you said?
Yeah, rounds up to 40, 1.56 fantasy points per minute without Brown and Porzingis.
I mean, that's a pretty diesel. If we find ourselves tonight in a matchup where it is the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers, no Joel Embiid, no Jaylen Brown, no Kristaps Porzingis. You just have Tatum and Maxey just going up and down the floor, just up shots on each other. Like that's a wild stack.
That's fun. That's a fun game. Obviously, like you're gonna ultimately, in that instance, you're gonna have to make a choice. Like if you're playing Tatum, you're not playing Luka, obviously. So that comes down.
Paul Reed is 44. They bumped him up. He was 35 yesterday. He's up to 44 now. So
dude, they're on there.
They got a dedicated man to make sure these prices are moving here. But I do think Tatum's in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm.
We talked Barnes already here. We talked Levine already here. If RJ is in tonight, would you play RJ at 64 against Atlanta the way he's been balling right now?
He's probably my favorite Nick. Like him and Randall would probably be my two favorite. The only thing with RJ are the minutes, seemingly just like low 30s. That's also because there's 7 guys on the wing that Thibodeau loves to use. So as long as he keeps scoring the way he's scoring, he does have a ceiling at 6,400. It's a great spot. Massive
over 5x in 3 straight games for him there now. Austin Reeves, thoughts here. I mean, they put him on the bench. We trashed him a little bit. He's responded really well since that change there. 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Now, again, blowout against Memphis. He was on the floor. Some closer games. He's been productive. No LeBron, we think, here tonight. So, do you give Austin Reeves a look at that the goated position eligibility of shooting guard, small forward?
Yeah, I did. I did the showdown write-up, John. So as a starter this year, I wrote this game up. Reeves averaged 13, 4, and 4. Since coming off the bench, he's up to 16, 6, and 6 off the bench. So he's just, not playing with LeBron, D'Lo, and AD every time he steps on the floor. So it's been the keys to the offense for Reeves. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of appeal for the Lakers if there's no LeBron.
I would agree with you. I could see a lot of people pivoting. You also get sort of the Lakers bump sometimes on these things too, right? We talked about that a lot. We saw that when AD got ruled out the other day. Everybody just all the roster ship just went right to all these Lakers players. So it'll be interesting to see there. Hart, obviously, there's no Barrett. We can continue to go back to that. I think feels pretty strong. Derek Jones at 49, could be in play.
Luka's gonna if you expect Luka to pay off a $12K salary, he's probably approaching a triple double. And Derek Jones and Grant Williams are just sitting there ready for threes. I mean, we had the big payout days, 2 games here, 28-26, 2 games here, 28-36. We know the floor, we know the ceiling with Derek Jones. Yes, we sure do.
We at least know the minutes will be there as well. Let's see. Koulibaly, someone I was in on for value, but now we may not need to go there for value.
That's how I feel. What you just said, like someone that we're in on. The last 2 games were definitely more ceiling games than anything, because you look through his first 8 games and he did little to nothing.
Yeah, mostly nothing.
Now Gallo's back. It's just a full Washington team. We still I know they played minutes last game, the starters and whatnot, but we still can't trust that that's going to be the case. They've been winning by 5 and have played Kuzma 25 minutes in games. It's hard to trust, and I feel the same way. It was a play, now it doesn't feel as likely.
I feel good with Sam Hauser tonight if JB sits. I think 25 minutes is in play here if they're down rotation pieces. Porzingis or Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I mean they just don't run Mazzulla just plays 7 guys, right? So and Hauser is one of the 7 guys. So
especially the way he's shooting, he currently leads the league in 3-point percentage for players with at least 50 attempts. So
I would say if both those guys are out, we could. I don't think it's a stretch to say he could start and or just see a ceiling minute.
If Jaylen Brown's out, Sam Hauser definitely starts.
Yeah, because they just don't want
because he's the backup unless they go defense with O'Shea Brissett or Lamar Stevens or something.
Well, could they? Well, I guess in theory you could play the big lineup with Horford at the 4, if Porzingis plays.
Assuming Porzingis is in,
because that would. I mean, that was, the 5. There's 6 guys for 5 starting spots, so you would assume just one.
Because they played the big lineup when Derek White was out.
Okay, so then that would be my assumption if Porzingis started, or if Porzingis was in, Brown was out, that they would just start Horford. But then again,
so 3,
and then Tatum at the 3. Yeah, I mean Tatum at the 3. Can you do that lineup against Philly? Probably, if Covington and Toby. I mean Toby and Tatum are the same height, right? Both 6'9", both starting at small forward. So you could get away with that lineup.
Josh Green's here, small forward, power forward at 4K. Again, the minutes have kind of always been there for him. It's just, what's the production going to be like? So, not my favorite. I would much rather see Jaden Hardy start tonight.
Same.
Because he'll take 20 shots.
Same.
That's just kind of basically at that point.
Yeah.
Anybody else down here small forward for you?
No, not unless something opens up.
Okay, I'm trying to see if anything else is down here, but I don't really see much. Power forward then. Giannis is already out. We've talked Tatum. Durant is $9,900. I don't think anybody's playing Kevin Durant tonight.
No, I don't think so. I bet you the Suns have
single-digit rostership.
Maybe single-digit combined for their whole team. I would say single-digit combined. It's just hard, right? Booker's 10-3. He hasn't played since the San Antonio game, which was and then suffered his second injury. Durant's still price 10K, which it's a good price for Durant, but now he's playing with Bradley Beal, who's a good price, but Bradley Beal
is the projected highest rostered Sun tonight at 4%. Durant is 1%. Everybody else is under 1%.
So I was right. So combined, that we might get double-digit ownership for the Suns if you add them up.
Yeah, maybe not. Honestly, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe There's a lot of 0.3s there. So yeah, probably not. All right. I mean, again, does the Luka news take you off now of getting to like Siakam or Randall if there's no Barrett tonight? Like, can we afford a Luka and another AK play? And if you do, like, is this where you're going with your money? Are you playing Siakam or are you playing the guards?
I think that is the question of the day, because they're all the problem with Siakam. He has good eligibility. Power forward center is good eligibility. I think power forward is a really good position today, kind of similar to
Luka Siakam gives you a 48 plus.
Yeah, I mean, so like for me, I love Donovan Mitchell tonight against Portland. Like, I'm playing Donovan Mitchell. I think that game's going to be more competitive than Vegas is projecting. I'm hoping that it's more competitive. I'm also hoping that the Lillard news or like the Giannis news and potentially the Embiid news takes people off Donovan Mitchell. Sure. It's like, just playing tournaments that way. But
Jaylen Brown ruled out. Kristaps Porzingis ruled out.
Holy cow. Oh my. And we get like Missoula is I feel like Missoula often gets his line. So right off the bat, John, I'll say this. We're at power forward. Al Horford's going to be probably one of the highest owned players of the slate, just given.
He's going to start.
He's going
to. Yeah. 500.
Then, okay, rank. I know this is hard. Let's assume that Hauser, Horford are just immediate plugs, right? How would you rank the Boston starting five in terms of priority?
I mean, I still think Tatum is obviously the guy. Like, Tatum's going to take a lot of shots here tonight now and definitely has a ceiling. I still go back to like Derek White as a good value, but we've also gotten 3 40+ fantasy point games out of Drew Holiday.
Bingo. I think that's my top per dollar play on the Celtics.
So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And again, as all this news breaks, like, how do people react to these lineups? Like, oh, Kyrie's out, we're plugging in Luka. Oh no, now there's
Jalen's out. Jalen's out.
Yeah. It's like, well, can I jam? Is JT a better value at 10-1 than a Luka at 12K? He's not, but like, is he? Like, he could be.
Right.
Right. So like, now you're saving $2,000 on a guy in Jason Tatum that we've seen go for 60 fantasy points already this year, that we've seen last year having 80 game. Dude, he had 80 fantasy points in 3 quarters against Charlotte last year in that one game. Like, he had a 50 burger in 3 quarters. So, I mean, the potential is certainly there. He's coming off of a 35 actual point game against the Knicks, where he had a down rebounding game. I mean, I don't know, man. I think all of this news, I don't think anybody who's building a lineup right now will not have the same lineup in an hour. So, we're here to try to break all this down here. So I apologize if you're tuning in. You're like, these guys can't keep a thought together, but that's just my process of thinking about how this slate's working about, right? So like,
where do you think the minutes, like, so as someone who's like does projections, right?
Yeah.
Where do the minutes go? Because like, you can project all 5 Boston starters for 36 minutes, but like, you have to assume it's Pritchard off the bench, it's Hauser off the bench, or I mean, Hauser playing 30 minutes.
I think Hauser.
It's O'Shea Brissett, right? Is like probably their like first. Is there Sam Hauser for today?
Possibly.
I mean, who else is there? Who else?
You could just see them play a lot of Peyton Pritchard, go 3 guards,
which wouldn't be surprising. I mean, you can do that against Philly because Philly might do it. Like, Philly played 28 minutes of Patrick Beverley last night. Right. So, like, they could just match the Beverley minutes with Pritchard, right?
Yeah, you have Drew Holiday, Pritchard, and White out there.
Well, White is so versatile. Like, White and Holiday make it very easy for your lineups.
Yeah, they can guard 3 positions. So, yeah. I mean, they do have Svi Mykhailiuk on the team.
They do. I mean, he is He is technically on the team. Yes, he is.
I mean, like if Hauser was to enter the starting lineup, I mean, you could just plug Svi in as the Hauser here, like because I mean he's not playing any less minutes than the rest of these backup wings are playing. I mean, because again, you mentioned it, like Mazzulla's rotation has been very limited here.
7 deep, right? It's just seven guys playing pretty much every day.
Like Luke Cornett's for sure the backup center.
Yep.
I think but the thing is, the Luke Cornett's $4,600. So I can't even say like, if you wanted to throw Luke Cornett out there, like I don't think you can anymore.
No,
if he was 32, I would consider it, but not at 46. So yeah, I think Hauser is probably a core play for me now. Just current play, and I think the minutes are I think he plays 30 plus minutes tonight. So, DePrince, you are late and you've missed everything.
You've missed so much news.
No Kyrie Irving, no Jaylen Brown, no Chris Porzingis. Make sure you're checking the Discord, DePrince, because we're in there updating a lot of the stuff too. And you'll have the whole hour to rewatch the show before roster lock, so you can do that as well if you wanted to.
Yep.
As a rewind for those of you who are tuning in and liking the channel. But I think as of right now, I'm still all in on Luka, but there's been so much news that has come about here. If Joel Embiid gets ruled out, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't know what I'm going to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with I don't know what I'm going to do with Joel Embiid. We're only 2 Siakam, by the way. We haven't even talked about the rest.
I know. I mean, and power forward's a good spot, but like, does this Nick Nurse? I mean, you probably don't think like this because this is the nationally televised game. But like, does Nick Nurse see this and be like, this is a good spot to get a banged up Joel Embiid a night off? We thought that last night, right? And Joel Embiid played. Here's
the other thing. Gary Trent officially ruled out. We're getting this. Here's the other
Schroeder?
OG. Schroeder still a game time decision.
Okay.
Here's the other thing to think about with this as well. Philly already won one matchup against Boston.
Ooh.
So, this isn't an 0-1 tiebreaker situation for Philly. Now, they could also play Embiid, go for the death hammer here and go up 2-0 in the tiebreaker. And now that any sort of late season standings tiebreaker goes to Philly here. But they can also look at it. It's like, we're already up 1-0. They're sitting there, 2 guys. We can bench Embiid here tonight. And you know what? We'll give it a go. And maybe we pull this off and go 2-0. But we can't go 0-2, right? We can only go 1-1. And we got more games to play head-to-head this year. So another way that he could look at it as well, right? Like, does it not make more sense that maybe they played Embiid last night because they felt like it was a more sure win? Like, play Embiid, get the sure win against Philly, against Indiana, and then, we'll see what happens with Boston, right? Yeah. Like, maybe we don't play them, but we're already up 1-0 on them anyways. And you mentioned that was a tournament game yesterday anyways for that thing. So we'll see. The other problem, and hopefully we'll get that news, is that we have a 7 p.m. kickoff. We have a 7 p.m. tip, and then everything else is after that 7:30. So
yeah, and it's Luka, and it's 12K.
Luka's in that 7 p.m. game. So.
In a 244.5 game total.
And now the spread's probably closer, right? There's
let's
have some movement here, right?
So it was at 5.5, 4.5 with our good friends at BetMGM. It is stayed at 4.5, didn't move. 242.5. So it's been bet down a couple points, but like 242.5 is still 10 points higher than any other, or 7 points higher than any other game on the board.
Who on Washington do you want to play here today? I feel like Kuzma gets Derrick Jones defense here.
It's Kuzma. That's
still Kuzma. Not worried about Derrick Jones Jr.
I mean, I'm not saying like I'm definitively getting to Kuzma. I would say I just feel best about Kuzma. I feel like at this point, it's just
I don't want to play. I'm not playing Jordan Poole, but like, does Denny become like appealing at all? Or
it's hard to see 6,200 and like Denny out. Yeah. I would say like per dollar, Daniel Gafford at 54 and like Koulibaly 43 are probably like the 2 best prices for guys who have ceilings. But like,
I mean, Kuzma did just go for 41 against Toronto. We consider Barnes and Siakam and like that whole wing to be pretty good defense there.
Sometimes it doesn't matter, right? Like we say,
most of the time it doesn't matter. Most of the time we overplay the hell out of this. So
yeah. So like, and the minutes for the first time all year, you see Kyle Kuzma play 38 minutes. Like that was amazing. But like, he's 8,100. and that's not the best price. Like, I remember you messaged me after that. You're like, oh, we got the Kuzma ceiling game. And then we like both like looked at the peripherals and we're like, well,
Yeah.
from the points perspective, but like he was 8,300. It's a sticker price situation. A
sticker shock.
Right? You're looking at the price and you're like, that's a little, my Chipotle bowl used to be $7.25 and now it's $10.25. Like, I'll probably pass. So, like Kuzma, I would get to in Washington first, but I just don't know if I'm getting to Washington at all.
Sure. Banchero's decreased here down to $7,700. One great game, another great game here, but he's kind of been back and forth here.
And this game is the worst on the board. 215. It's tough sell in this game. Like, it's interesting. Like, Towns is interesting. 7,900 coming off a monster game. 50, 48 his last 3 games, and we're getting like a crazy price tag on Towns. And Banchero is interesting because he's gone for 53 times and his price is decreasing. But like,
you got a 63-point game on it.
Yeah, 63 from Jeremy Grant the other night. But like, it's all like you're at the expense of what? At the expense of you're not getting one of those guards. You're not getting Siakam. So you're not getting Levine or Vooch. So I think all those guys are great tournament plays, but not priorities for me.
How do we build lineups tonight to save room for Hachimura when LeBron James gets rolled out?
Cleveland. Yeah, you use Strus
as like
and or Levert in your forward.
You put them in your forward spot.
Yep. Okay. Because like, dude, Hachimura, as we've seen in years past, can score really well when he's going really well, and he's shooting the ball really well from 3. He's getting to the line. He had 23 last night in a game. LeBron, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reeves all had really good games. So he's just taking all of Christian Wood's minutes.
It's crazy efficient.
Yeah, crazy efficient. So like, that's obviously, it's like Reddish, right? Him and Reddish are both like ceiling scoring efficiency right now. But you would, I think in theory, you just play Levert and or Strus at forward to get to Hachimura. Because like we saw the last time LeBron sat, Hachimura started and he was great.
Is Grant Williams now a viable option? Had this little run here to 38, 29, 31.
I feel like we're
getting some Pacers affiliate here. Tobias Harris is in. See what the next updates are going to be here. We got Joel Embiid news coming our way. Joel Embiid's still a game time.
Again, this is the same news we had yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And then they didn't release it until like 8 minutes before that game tipped. I would say I'm a hard pass on Williams. I would just rather probably play the Bulls guys down here.
Patrick Williams.
4,000 for Craig, 39 for Williams, and like, we're not going to know the Caruso's news probably until 7:30, obviously. But if there's no Caruso, either Ayo Dosunmu or Patrick Williams enter the starting lineup, right? That's just, I think, the safe bet. Like, they go Ayo if they want to go with a guard.
Already there.
Torrey Craig's already there. So, like, you could play Craig or Williams, I think, with DeRozan out. I think both of them are a safe bet to play mid-20s minutes. And then Caruso being out, I think both guys could approach 30.
Any Jabari Walker punt play love down here?
What was our Jabari Walker? Was it like so they started? Did you see who they started last night? Who we didn't talk about? They started Tumani Kamara.
Yeah.
Over Thibault. Is that, you think, a product of just did Thibault? What was Thibault's minutes last night? Did he even play? He played 22 minutes. I don't. I'm just trying to figure out like why Jabari Walker played. Like, Jeremy Grant only played 26 minutes. You think that was the reason? Like, they just played Walker in a blowout because Utah was. I don't know. Maybe if he got to start over like Tumani Kamara, right? Would you play Tumani Kamara 3,800 starting?
No. Way too low volume of everything.
I wouldn't either.
But I mentioned Walker because he gets on the floor and he just is active, right? Like, blocks, steals, rebounds, efficient scoring here. Robert Covington will again start tonight. 40
fantasy points tonight at $4,600. You mark my words, Bob Cove. I'm just kidding. Do not play Bob Cove. Also, didn't mention this either. Chris Boucher, John, 4,100. power forward only. 20 minutes for Chris Boucher last time. 7.7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. Chris Boucher experience on full display. We already have news that like multiple rotation pieces are not playing.
Yeah.
Chris Boucher got 20 minutes at $4,100. That'd be a tournament play I'd be willing to explore.
Sure. I would agree with you. We know he's a point per fantasy point per minute guy. We like scroll by Bobby Portis.
I was gonna use him at center only because I think power forward is like a good position. But yeah, we could definitely talk about.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's fine. I mean, him and Al Horford. Now, who do you? Everybody moves maybe to Horford over Portis tonight. No, you don't think so?
I think Portis is just a higher, much higher ceiling guy. Sure. I mean, he's like, dude, he went for 40 fantasy points the other day in 25 minutes off the bench. And
I play him all the time.
I know.
Bobby Portis.
I would say, like, you're probably going to get a lot of lineups with both, right? Sure. Where you're just like living in this mid tier. But if it's preference, I'm 100% playing Bobby Portis.
Are we chasing Keegan Murray points here?
So 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy this year, 1.08 with De'Aaron Fox on the floor. No coincidence there with how many open looks Keegan Murray, who was a 40% 3-point shooter, who broke the rookie record for most made threes last year. Like,
I'm okay getting Keegan Murray at a good clip. He went 5 of 8 last night, but every other day it's one of the worst 3-point shooters for a stretch here, right? Like, could have some 30 actual point games down the stretch here. All right, let's go to center. I don't see how we conceivably pay up for center today with the way Luka news comes out. So I'm like probably not Boston playing anybody in this range here.
Vucevic. It's probably Vucevic. First one you'd get to.
Yeah, maybe.
7,800.
It's Orlando. Goga,
Mo Wagner, revenge narrative for Vooch, and no DeRozan, right? Like, it just... He's coming off back-to-back 50 burgers with DeRozan. No, I'm not like saying you have to get to him, but like he's the one that has been campaigning about the offense, and then he's taking 19, 17, and 24 shots his last 3 games. Like, coincidence? I don't know. That's a lot of shots for a guy complaining about the offense.
It's truth. Again, then we hit this mid-tier range like you mentioned. There is Portis here. There's Al Horford here. There's Daniel Gafford here. All 3 guys I like. Aneki Agunku is actually getting some rostership tonight as well at 49. Liked Mo Wagner if John Isaac got ruled out. John Isaac hasn't been ruled out yet on the back-to-back. That we were kind of in on Wagner last night with the idea that Isaac was going to be ruled out because he wasn't closing. Wagner hasn't been closing games. Isaac has been. So if Isaac was out, Wagner might be on the floor to close out these games. But that's kind of where we live. And then, of course, if Embiid gets ruled out, we all just play Reed at 4,400.
Yeah. How would you just use Portis forward, Reed center? Is that how you would? Yeah. Because you're playing both those guys.
You could play Portis, Horford, and Reed if you wanted to. I mean, like.
Yeah, you could. Then you're probably not playing some late game, like then your Hachimura might be off the table unless you're using a util pivot. So that, I guess that's how you would need to prioritize.
If Embiid is out, Horford's the last one for me here. I like Horford, but I don't know what he's got left for a ceiling. Like we got 30 minutes and 25 fantasy points. Like, is that it? Is that what we have left for Al Horford at this point? So, I probably out on the Horford thing here, but.
Agreed.
It's kind of where I'm sitting with it. Where else are you going at center?
Only other name, Evan Mobley is like a little bit interesting. I don't love the minutes, truthfully. Like, I'm not sure why Evan Mobley is only playing 30 minutes a night when he should probably be playing like 35, 36. Like Mitchell, Garland, Strus are all playing 36 minutes a night, but Evan Mobley's playing 30, Jared Allen's playing 28, so like both your bigs are kind of limited and just kind of eating into each other, but no Garland. In theory, you would think Mobley. I think Mobley profiles best as like a cash game play. He just has a nice floor. Jared Allen's going to get some ownership. Like, he's basically gotten actually, he's not getting a lot of ownership. So maybe Jared Allen, not as interesting. Gafford, definitely a tournament play. I have nothing. I probably wouldn't play Ngannou 49. I know there's a ceiling on Ngannou 49. But 2 of the last 3 games, it's been Capella closing over him.
Yeah.
So
minor Celtics news. It's not. It's nothing.
Okay.
But I'm just going to speak it out because I'm just going to say it. The Celtics' second round pick, Neemias Queta. He's a 7-footer from Brazil that they had signed to a 2-way contract. Is active for tonight's game. So
I'm happy for him.
He's out there. Just
He is. Has Missoula? Have we gotten word on Missoula?
Not yet. I haven't seen anything official yet on that lineup, but that was from the official Celtics team Twitter account that Neemias Queta is officially active for tonight's game to make his Celtics debut. So I don't know if this dude is expected to play over Luke Cornett by any sense of the imagination. He's probably not even on the player pool. I wouldn't suggest playing him, but
3K.
3K?
He's 3K. Yeah, he's
second round pick,
7-footer,
250 pounds. He's knocking down some jump shots in pregame warm-ups. So,
speaking of pregame warm-ups, Schroeder will officially test his knee. Test the injury in pregame. He'll try to test it, he says, and then Embiid's going to go through his pregame workout to see if he's good. Those are the beat writer notes, but nothing obviously concrete.
There you go. All right, you ready to build a lineup here?
No. Luka Portis.
Yeah.
Where do we go after that?
Portis at the 5, you think?
Yeah, unless you wanted to play
RJ Barrett out.
Oh. Oh boy.
Do you just play Randall now?
Because
what do we do?
I was gonna say we kind of couldn't. Not that Randall was ever a bad play, but he is a infinitely better play with no RJ Barrett. He has been really good of late. But where does Julius Randle rank amongst all these other 8K, 9K guys, right? I mean, Josh Hart's been super great for the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson. I don't think I'm playing tonight. I don't know what to do. Because here's the thing. I'm not making 150 lineups. So, there's too many combos
settling on one guy.
We got 4,900 to play with the lineup that I just kind of plugged in here. The other thing was we didn't have a true we need to play Malachi Flynn tonight, right? We need that. I guess Grady Dick's probably is in no matter what, right? Because he's filling the wing for Trent and
he's gonna play 24 minutes. He played 24 minutes last time.
Is that a play for you, or do you go Beaucamp here? They're both $3,500. If you had to pick one for $3,500, probably the lineup we're building now won't exist in an hour. So,
I mean, probably Grady Dick. If you wanted to get value, the Bulls value obviously still exists too, and Pat Will.
The Beaucamp thing for me is only one guy is out for them. It's just Giannis, and he's not in Beaucamp.
Well, Crowder. Crowder was playing 25 minutes.
But he's not a direct backup to Giannis, I guess. Where Dick is at least backs up OG and Trent, right? So
I agree. I'm just saying there are a lot of minutes floating out there, Sans J Crowder. It's Sans Crowder, Sans Giannis, and Middleton's.
It makes me sick.
I
just want to play Malachi Flynn. I believe there's a higher ceiling of Malachi Flynn than there is Grady Dick here. But
we also saw Malachi Flynn play 20 plus minutes in that spot. And what if Schroeder doesn't play? Then you have him definitively in the starting lineup, unless they went Scotty Barnes. Just to troll us, Scotty Barnes starting point guard. I would say if we are looking for a value play, Peyton Pritchard on the board, Patrick Williams on the board.
Yeah, just did Patrick
you can go Strus at the shooting guard spot, or you can go Strus at util if you wanted to pivot to you can actually play Strus and LeVert here if you wanted to, and then you have potential pivots to the Lakers guys for later.
Would you just play Hart over Randall at this point, just for the value?
You could.
You get 91.
And then you have 9,100. Donnie, or Lillard,
or Fox,
or Fox or Siakam. You have 4 elite plays in the same breath. Fox in the best game environment with the late night exposure. Donnie Mitch team to himself. Siakam been a monster. 4,300 for a guard. That's probably Josh Green.
Well, we can move it
Josh
around. We can move Struss to shooting guard, Fox to guard. We have a util for 43.
It's like Josh Green.
Yeah, Craig.
Or Boucher, Craig.
What do we do with Gallinari?
No, ignore him. He was in play on a 4-game slate when there wasn't news flowing.
We have let's see. Stop screen. Screen's breaking on me.
I can't believe everyone's out.
Everybody's out.
Last night everybody played. Tonight everybody's not playing. Last night was much easier when everyone just decided to play.
So you do
Tonight nobody's playing.
Drew Holiday is there 57? Kobe White 55?
Yeah, Kobe White.
That's what Drew Holiday gets. Is there 71 guard or 71 util? Is there a better 71 util than Drew Holiday?
You don't like Drew? I think
Drew Holiday's a great play. I'm just seeing if there's a better option down here, which doesn't really seem like there is. So
I think it would be Holiday in that. I think
Holiday or LeVert, right?
Yeah, Holiday or LeVert.
Not really giving ourselves any opportunity to play a late pivot with this lineup. But
what do we just have? What was the because we had LeVert. It was LeVert and who? It was Grady Dick.
Yeah, Grady Dick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's.
I mean, again, I'm hopeful that if we get Schroeder out, like, we're only locking in this game Luka, so like could throw Malachi Flynn and then they get $2,100 to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want, yeah.
Probably go off Patrick Williams here.
And that would give you Horford again, I guess.
I guess actually we'd probably do this, right? Like Williams would be the util. Right, util. What did I have? I forget what Kobe White was. Kobe White was guard.
And Strus or LeVert. Yeah, it would be Strus.
Right, and then if we wanted to go down, we could move off of Flynn from Kobe White and go get a util there for off Patrick.
I really want those late games. I really want the exposure to the late games. Like that Lakers game had 259.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know how to get there. we're so fair and balanced because we have Luka.
You have to, yeah. Well, like take Drew out and play Fox in your util and see what happens.
I see point guard only. Yeah, point guard only. It's gross. 46 shooting guard.
Which could be a which could be a 46 forward because we have the Strus option if we needed to, right?
Yeah.
Koulibaly.
See, I mean, the thing is that what we're trying to do is figure out a way to get Hachimura in the lineup.
Pretty much, yes.
So, I mean, you could do. I guess we would pivot off of. So, is he a small forward only? He is. So we would probably have to just plug Hachimura in, and then just save money to go to Strus. Then I guess, right?
Yes, probably.
Probably can't play Fox because the position eligibility there is kind of crap.
You play LeVert, and then you're saving.
Or you just play Strus as well and do this.
Or yeah,
I have 8K.
D'Lo, because in this scenario, LeBron's obviously not playing, so you're right in that scenario.
Yeah.
And there's the other thing with the Luka news, right? It's do you play?
And this is all contingent, of course, on Malachi Flynn even being in the lineup.
Yeah,
I guess we would just pivot to Grady Dick at that point. So,
and here lies the 6 p.m. lineup build issue because none of this, like you said, matters if Schroeder's in. Well, not that it doesn't matter, but like. What if Schroeder plays? Like you're obviously less likely to get to Flynn, or you're.
Well, Flynn. At least these guys are playing the minutes anyways. So
sure.
Like him and Grady Dick are probably locked into 2022 anyways, regardless there. But yeah, I mean that's really what lies in with paying up for 12-1 for Luka. So
Yep, it is.
Because he just costs a lot of money. So again,
He
maybe I still think Luka is the right play.
Yeah.
But Tatum is 2K less.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're just talking raw points, no one on the slate has higher ceiling, right? Luka without Kyrie. It's like Embiid probably would be the only other guy that can match him.
Could go 35 and 20, I guess, tonight.
Which is another reason you would be like weighing your options against Luka. But what if LeBron plays? You're kind of screwing yourself out of potentially 80 fantasy points of Luka. So I think Luka is obviously
No, Sean, I agree. Yeah. I think I said Tatum being 2K less
for sure.
You say you take him out, plug Tatum in it. We'll just plug power forward for now. I guess we can go back to Fox here.
Yeah, definitely go back to Fox there.
74 for util.
Well,
without moving things around, right? If we get rid of Flynn, I guess 55.
You're also playing Hachimura in this case, so like there's just like this is the LeBron contingency lineup as well. Still, like there's just so much.
Do I think Cody White?
Horford, three stack the Celtics.
Yeah, I said White's interesting. I think more people go to White than they do Drew Holiday, but we've gotten 340 plus fantasy point games out of Drew Holiday, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think he has a better ceiling for sure.
So yeah, again, guys, a lot of news still to come. We'll be in that Discord for all of you. So don't leave the Discord. Don't leave your phones. Turn your notifications on. We will get news coming for everybody here. I still think Luka's probably the top play of the slate, given the matchup against Washington in a game that has a 250 total as well. But again, it's there's a lot of moving parts here still to come. Yeah, if Embiid gets ruled out, now we just play the $4,400 Paul Reed, and that opens up more money, right? Like there's just a lot to chew over the next hour or so. So get in our Discord. If you're not already a member of the FanStorm family, you can scan this QR code here. Take advantage of our All-Pro offer going on right now. Annual subscription packages save 40% off the month-to-month price. Or you can go to fanstorm.com/win. Check it out there. Scan the QR code. Become a member of the family. Get in our premium Discord. We're in there. Myself, Grande, Sean Mitchell, Dylan Clemens, the whole crew. We're in there just talking lineup builds for the next hour or so. So check all of that out. No live stream tomorrow, just 2 games. We will have our preview show in the morning, so check that out. And we'll be back for the 5 p.m. live stream on Friday for everybody to check out then. James, any final words here for the people?
Give your wife and or partner your babies. Make sure they're holding them up until and beyond roster lock, because you're going to need both hands or all the hands you got. If you got 3 hands, congrats. If you got 1, you're going to need it desperately. So make sure your partner has your babies, has your kids, has dinner, especially if you want to win some money tonight. We need some help tonight.
Yeah, listen. For those of you who don't hand build lineups, you're probably going to be fine. For those of you who do, we'll be in Discord helping you guys out here tonight. So good luck, and we'll talk to you in Discord.